Welcome to Superhero Stories. I am your host, Captain EJ. Today, we'll be exploring the world of Star Wars. All you have to do is close your eyes, get cozy, and listen to the sound of my voice. Captain EJ will be your guide. This story is brought to you by my friend, Mrs. Honeybee. Let's begin. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, you, Luke Skywalker, and Princess Leia are flying through the clouds of the planet Bedtime on your way to Cloud City, where you have been called to help your friends C3PO and R2-D2. Both have been captured by Imperial forces and are being held captive by Darth Vader in the intricate maze of Lando Calrissian's mining station. You are sitting in the co-captain's chair of a fighter ship, helping Luke Skywalker navigate through the sea of clouds. Looking out the windshield, you're about to fly into a puffy white cloud with little visibility except for a bright white light. Luke activates some of the ship's light deflectors to try to be able to see, but nothing helps. You, Luke, and Leia hold on tight and hope that nothing is in your path once you get to the other side of this cloud. When you finally emerge from the cloud, you have a clear blue sky ahead of you. Cloud City is now visible, hanging like a massive disc in the sky. As you approach, the many buildings begin to take shape. Luke needs your help landing on top of the highest building. That's where Leia thinks Darth Vader has R2-D2 and C3PO held captive. Take a breath in through your nose and out through your mouth as you begin your descent. Pull one of the controls down toward you to help Luke lower the ship. You will land on a circular pad on top of the building, but need to do so gently so as not to alert any of the Imperial forces. Push the button that will activate air compressors on the bottom of the ship to help it hover in place and land stealthily. Focus on lowering the ship closer and closer to the top of the building, while Luke Skywalker controls the speed until you feel the slight bounce of a very smooth landing. Great work. Leia runs up behind you and Luke to strategize your next move. Before you exit the ship, each of you carefully surveys the area around the ship to see if anyone has been alerted to your arrival. Luke takes the front, Leia the sides, and you head to the back of the ship to peek out and look all around. Turn your head all the way to one side. You can see clouds and stillness on top of the building, no movement at all. Then turn your head all the way to the other side. Over there you see a metal garage door that rolls up to allow spaceships to be parked inside. And there's a smaller door to one side, but you don't see anyone walking by. Bring your head back to a neutral position and let Luke and Leia know that the coast is clear on this side. They are clear on their sides, so you all slowly exit the ship and walk toward the smaller door. You and Luke press your ears against the door to see if you can hear anything inside. You can hear humming, as if an engine is idling or machinery is operating, but you cannot hear any voices. Leia reaches out and opens the door for you to step inside. Once you step inside, Leia closes the door behind you all as quietly as possible. You walk into a big open space that looks like a garage with a giant freight ship parked inside. The engine is humming, so you know someone will be coming back or is already on the ship. You walk along the wall trying to be as invisible and quiet as possible. Just then, you hear many, many footsteps walking all together, one footstep after another on the other side of the ship. You peek around the side of some shelving with bins of metal parts on it, and you can see the shiny white Stormtrooper armor. A group of them are filing into the spaceship, while others are walking in a formation toward the metal garage door. Luke whispers to get your attention. If they open the door, they will know that you three are here to rescue C3PO and R2-D2. Leia thinks for a moment, then comes up with a plan. She will jam the garage opening mechanism so it will not open, and while they are busy figuring out what the issue is, you all will have time to rescue C3PO and R2-D2 and escape. You and Luke think that sounds like a good plan, and watch as she walks over to one side of the garage that has tall shelves with ship parts and bins. Leia climbs up the back of the shelves as quietly as she can until she's near the ceiling. The garage opens along two tracks that pull the heavy metal door open. She looks the tracks over to see where she can jam it. While she's doing that, you and Luke are watching the Stormtroopers load the ship with supplies and prepare it for launch. You look closely at 4 of them who seem to be carrying something. Each of them has several white and blue parts that look like they can be put together to be a droid. Luke looks at you worried. "That's R2-D2. They're putting him on the ship and he's in pieces." Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth with Luke Skywalker to calm your mind and focus on the rescue mission. He is confident that you 3 will be able to save them. You look back up to Leia, who has successfully jammed the garage door from opening. She hurries back down and you all run into a side door without any of the Stormtroopers seeing you. You, Luke, and Leia walk down a long, dark hallway. Just up ahead, there's a room off to the side with light shining under the door. Maybe C3PO is in there. When you get up to it, Luke creaks it open and inside you find C3PO, but his gold-plated parts are all taken apart and strewn about the room. Luke and Leia run up to his robot head, which is sitting on top of a pile of data drives, wires, and tools. They think the Imperial forces must have taken him apart to get at his most core hard drives, which have valuable communications information that the Imperial forces can use against any planet in the galaxy. Luke begins sorting through the pile of mechanical parts, trying to figure out how to get C3PO at least able to speak, so he can tell you how to put the rest of him together. Take a breath in through your nose and out through your mouth to focus your mind on how C3PO is put together. Look around the room to see what else you can find. In the corner, you can see a gold chest plate that forms his torso, and over in the other corner you see a blinking computer chip. Grab both of those from either corner and bring it back to Luke while Leia peeks out of the door to make sure no one is coming. Luke has found the electrical line that connects C3PO's head to his torso, so he places the parts he has so far on the floor to be able to see what's missing. Using the tools, Luke carefully screws together C3PO's head onto the chest plate and the rest of his torso. Leia says the coast is clear and brings over an arm, 2 hands, and one of C3PO's legs. You work on untangling the wires that were found while Luke tries plugging in various disks to other computer parts that bring C3PO to life. He reaches up for the wires that you've untangled, and you begin rebuilding C3PO's robotic self limb by limb. He now has a full arm with a hand and a full leg with a foot. Leia keeps bringing more limbs one by one until she found everything she could around the room. Focusing your mind with steady breathing as you work, in through your nose and out through your mouth. With one last tightening of the screwdriver, C3PO has an entire body back. Luke just needs to finish working on the computer hardware. Leia runs over and asks if he thinks anything is missing. Luke is surprised that all the necessary components seem to be here. As he says that, he plugs one last red wire in and C3PO's squeaky eyelids blink once, then twice, and then he pushes himself up off the floor. You all did it. The excitement fades as C3PO stands up but is unable to speak clearly. His language processor must be missing a part. That's what the Stormtroopers took. He keeps trying to say full sentences and manages to get a few of them out, but then he goes back to mumbling, and you cannot understand what he's trying to say. You and Luke get to work on trying to reconnect some of his wires differently when you hear the faint sounds of an alarm. They must have realized that you are here to rescue your droid friends. Leia runs to the door and tries to jam it shut with whatever she can find. Luke pulls out a blue lightsaber just like his and hands it to you. He wants you to have it in case you need to fight off any Stormtroopers on the rescue mission. Behind you, Leia shuts the door, pushes her back up against it, and shushes you and Luke. They're coming down the hall, a long line of them searching for you. She shuts the lights off and gets her blue lightsaber out, then stands next to you and Luke, who are protecting C3PO, ready to fight Stormtroopers if needed. A couple moments pass and no one bursts in the door, so Leia runs back over to open it the slightest bit and look up and down the hall. Miraculously, she doesn't see anyone. You and Leia decide to go out to rescue R2-D2 from the freight ship in the garage, while Luke continues to work on C3PO. She looks at you before she opens the door and asks if you're ready. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Now you're ready. You two stealthily run down the dark hallway back to the garage. You reach out your hand to open the door to the garage. It feels cool to the touch, but you also feel like it is pushing toward you. Someone is opening it on the other side. You warn Leia that stormtroopers are likely on the other side of the door, and both of you prepare for a lightsaber battle. You stand back to let the person on the other end be surprised that you're behind the door and activate the brilliantly blue lightsaber. It flickers to full illumination. Leia is beside you when the door opens, and 3 stormtroopers are completely caught off guard. You lunge toward them, wielding the lightsaber, and both you and Leia strike one down each. They fall to the ground while the third tries to wrestle the lightsaber out of your hands. You are much stronger than the stormtrooper and continue to swing it in their direction. Leia strikes that one down as well, and now you are both safe. Leia has another idea. If you both wear stormtrooper armor, you can very easily sneak onto the ship to rescue R2-D2. You agree and begin arming yourself in the shiny white stormtrooper armor. Make sure your head is held high, that your ears are as far away from your shoulders as possible as you put on the helmet, the chest, and shoulder plates, and the rest of the armor. It feels heavy on your body, but you feel strong. Then you and Leia continue out the door, blending in perfectly with the others who are frantically running around the garage trying to find you. In your stormtrooper armor, step one armored foot in front of the other, up the ramp and into the massive freight ship where they are holding R2-D2 hostage. Right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot. Leia is in front of you, leading the way. She runs up to R2-D2 as best as she can. He beeps and wiggles his robot self all around trying to get away from her, thinking she's a stormtrooper. Then you take off your helmet and Leia takes off hers, and R2-D2 is overjoyed to see you. He beeps uncontrollably, so thankful that you were able to save him. He beeps a question to Leia. She answers that C3PO is inside and she explains that they took him apart, but she's not sure why yet. R2-D2 knows exactly why. He ejects a disc from one of his drives and Leia immediately grabs it. He beeps that the drives that created C3PO's type of protocol droid were found to be made with a highly prized material that the Imperial Force is trying to hoard all to themselves. That's why they took C3PO apart, and they needed him to guide them to more C3POs. Once R2-D2 processes the disc, it serves as a type of magnet that R2-D2 can use to navigate any ship to more of C3PO's exact model of droid. Now that you and Leia know of their plan, you're even more happy to have saved R2-D2 and C3PO. The 3 of you make your way back, running right past the other stormtroopers on your way back to the room where Luke and C3PO are. Right before you head down the dark hallway once again, a couple stormtroopers grab you by the shoulder and ask you to turn around. Leia turns around first because you're holding R2-D2 as best you can. Leia uses the deepest voice she can to tell a stormtrooper that if someone has snuck into the station, they must be after this droid, so you're going to hide him in a safe place. The stormtroopers let you proceed, none the wiser that you and Leia are the stealthy rescuers. Look up and down the dark hallway to make sure no one is coming, then slip back into the room and shut the door behind you. Luke charges the door when he sees you and Leia holding R2-D2 pointing his lightsaber right at you. Leia quickly takes off her helmet and calms Luke down. You scared him. While you and Leia were saving R2-D2, Luke got C3PO in near working condition. He is now able to say more words but desperately needs the disc to have his full language capabilities. Leia hands the disc over to Luke and he finishes it by putting it in C3PO. Now he can speak fully and he is so grateful that you saved his life. R2-D2 beeps with joy. Luke wonders out loud how you all will get out of this room and out of Cloud City. Luke and Leia get an idea. They are both strong with the Force and they suspect that you are too. One of the ways the Force can be used defensively against evildoers is to control the action and will of weak-minded people. All of the stormtroopers merely follow orders and are not usually capable of thinking for themselves. They are very susceptible to the Force. Luke and Leia say that to use this Force, you need to calm and open your mind with a slow, deep breath. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Then you look the weak-minded people directly in the eyes, and with the utmost self-assured confidence,
tell them exactly what to do. If you are perfectly confident in yourself, they will do exactly as you say. Luke, Leia, C3PO, and R2-D2 know that you will be able to do this and finish this rescue mission. With that, you all head out of the room, down the dark hallway, and back into the garage. At first, you cannot see anyone. The fright ship is turned off and the wide-open garage is completely empty, echoing. Where did they all go? Maybe this will be easier than you think. You all sneak as quietly as you can back through the shelving and up to the garage door, which is now unjammed and open. Step out of the garage between Luke and Leia with your droid friends at your back and feel the sunshine warm you. There are endless puffy clouds surrounding this floating colony. Luke's ship is right in front of you and it looks empty and unattended. Step by careful step, you walk to the ship. Then suddenly, out of the corner of your eye, you see lines and lines and lines of stormtroopers appear, many more than that filled the garage initially. The entire army of stormtroopers has descended on this ship, waiting for you to come back to it. You're not all worried. Neither are Luke and Leia. You know that the stormtroopers are weak-minded, and you can use the Force for good to rescue your droid friends. As they all surround you, Luke and Leia with R2-D2 and C3PO huddled behind you, you three take a very slow, deep breath in through your nose while the army of stormtroopers aim their weapons at you. When you breathe out through your mouth, you confidently motion your hand downward to tell the entire army to lower their weapons. And they do. Every single stormtrooper puts down their weapons and stares at you three for their next instruction. Luke shouts out that the army will help us get into this ship and see we are sent off in a very friendly fashion. The stormtroopers immediately start tending to you, making sure you have everything you need. They offer you snacks for the flight home and help you all into the spaceship. Luke starts up the engine and the ship flies into the clouds. You look back and see the polite army of stormtroopers waving their glossy white armored hands as you sail into the clouds, a hero.
That concludes our story. I can't wait to see you again. Captain EJ, over and out.